consideration now of a third declension in chapter 10, and we worked with nouns, pronouns, and even adjectives in chapter 10 as we were looking at third declension. And when we talked about pronouns, we talked about certain ones like tis, t, and with the accent, we said that that was the interrogative pronoun, and without the accent, it's the indefinite pronoun. We'll have a chance to remember tis and t again later when we talk about the relative pronouns in chapter 14. We remembered that adjectives can be in the 2-1-2 pattern, the 2-2 pattern, the 3-1-3 pattern, or the 3-3 pattern. And we learned that adjectives and pronouns can also be pronominal. In other words, they can function either as an adjective would function or as a pronoun would function. We've seen two of these basically so far. The two that we've seen are pas, pasapan, and autos. Pas is an adjective, it's a pronominal adjective, and autos is a pronominal pronoun. In other words, primarily pas is going to be an adjective, and primarily autos is going to be a pronoun, but being pronominal, they can go either way. Now, when you work with pronominals, and we try to talk about function, we have to add a little bit of step to the process. Now, typically, when we have a noun, we're looking at the case ending and figuring out the case and then working to the function. And because pronouns take the place of nouns and behave like nouns, we do the same thing with pronouns. We're looking at the case, and then we are moving to the case functions and then isolating the particular function. When we were working with adjectives, we asked our two diagnostic questions about article and noun, and then based on that, we worked toward the functions of the adjective. When we work with pronominals now, we have a little bit of a preliminary step that we have to take. The pronominal is over here, and because it has the option of going on as a pronoun or an adjective, we have to determine that first. And then once we've determined that, then we go the one step further and we look at it and handle it like an adjective. So that preliminary step when we were working with autos, we referred to as the 3 I's of autos. One of the I's, the independent pronoun, took us and put us up on this track here to go on, and then we would look at the pronoun and determine what its case was and make a determination of its function based on the case. The other two we found were identical and intensive, and they were the adjective function, and they put us here. And we saw that sometimes that identical looked like a regular attributive adjective because it was modifying a noun, and other times that identical looked like a substantival adjective because it had no noun associated with it. But in both situations, it was identical, and we identified it that way. The intensive, when we looked at that, looked like a predicate adjective because it has no article in front of it, but it does have an associated noun, and sometimes that noun will have an article, and maybe sometimes it won't. But the intensive is not functioning in the same way as a predicate adjective would, even though it looks like a predicate adjective in terms of its structure, no article, and there is a noun there, but it's functioning differently, and that's by virtue of its being a pronominal. And so we observe that it looks like the adjective, but in both situations it's going to I just interject that because we'll be learning two other pronominals today. Pas is a pronominal adjective. Allos, which means other, is also a pronominal adjective. I don't know that you've had that yet. And paulus, which means much or many, is also pronominal. And so we'll be seeing some adjectives as we go along that are pronominal. We'll also get demonstrative pronouns today, which are like autos.